हेलो दोस्तों, दिस इज भारत कुमार एंड यू आर वाचिंग माय चैनल निर्मल इन्फो अपडेट्स।
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
Defense Secretary Bharat Kumar in his talk on COVID-19 resource crunch and defense modernization conducted by the Manipur Institute for Defense Studies and Analyses focused on the blue economy. At the end of the talk, in response to a question, the Defense Secretary observed that today, China is the global leader in the deep water fishing. India has not stepped out of its territorial waters. The Indian fishermen are not equipped properly and don't have the training to explore deeper waters. They don't have the craft, the equipment, and most importantly there is no big security umbrella under which they can go out into deeper waters to tap resources in our exclusive economic zone. The government is mulling on tapping the waters for not only fisheries but also for energy resources as well as minerals. With the focus on maritime increasing, the Defense Secretary stated that the Indian Ocean is an important area, the security of which has to be catered to. There is a need to look at the whole thing in a larger framework. According to Kumar, the allocation for capital procurements has come down from 40% in 2010-11 to 33% in the defense budget. He termed it as a systematic problem due to three big issues including the pension bill, non-revenue expenditure and dependence on imports. The pensions expenses have gone up from Rs 32,000 crore a few years ago to now Rs 133,000 crore. The government is looking at ways to cut down the pensions and wage bill and free up the funds for modernization of the armed forces. There are plans to possibly extend the service for the Jawans, which will help in cutting down the long-term liabilities and also help in reducing the pension bill, he said. And for the lateral induction, according to the Defense Secretary, the matter was being looked into. How the rules for recruitment might have to be changed for Group B and A employees, he said. As Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen was sworn in for her second term on Wednesday, BJP MPs Meenakshi Khare and Rahul Keswan virtually attended the ceremony and congratulated her on behalf of the Modi government, even as China claims it is its territory. This also comes amid the ongoing global inquest into the origins of the COVID crisis, with the WHO agreeing to and China permitting an investigation. Taiwan's presence at the World Health Assembly was also a matter of questioning widely moved, though it did not eventually come about. The BJP MPs were among the 92 dignitaries from 41 countries who had a virtual presence at the ceremony as foreign visitors are banned in Taiwan in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Back in 2016, when Tsai was elected to her first term, the Indian government had decided against sending its MPs to Taiwan for the inaugural ceremony. This time around, the BJP MPs were also joined by Sen Sen, the acting Director General of India Taipei Association, who represented India at the ceremony in Taipei. India does not have an official diplomatic establishment in Taiwan, the same as 179 of the 194 United Nations members. While they did not point out the Indian MPs, Chinese authorities slammed the congratulatory messages that foreign dignitaries sent to Tsai. We hope and believe that they will understand and support the just cause of Chinese people to oppose the secessionist activities for Taiwan independence and realize national reunification, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zheng Shuham told reporters in Beijing. In their congratulatory message to the Taiwan's president, Khare and Keswan highlighted on India and Taiwan's shared belief in democratic values. Both India and Taiwan are democratic countries, bonded by shared values of freedom, democracy and respect for human rights. Over the past years, India and Taiwan have enhanced bilateral relations enormously in wide-ranging areas, especially trade, investment and people-to-people exchanges, said the two MPs during their video message. In addition to this joint message, Khare also sent a separate message to Tsai, which was also played at the ceremony. She congratulated Tsai and wished her great success and also talked about continued strengthening of the comprehensive relations between India and Taiwan. China has announced a 6.6% growth in its defense budget for this year, its lowest rate of increase for almost 3 decades. The growth in China's defense budget would see spending rise from $167 billion last year to $178.2 billion, an increase of about $11 billion. The country has the second largest defense budget in the world, behind only the United States. Despite the growth of China's defense budget being at its lowest, in percentage terms, since the early 1990s, the 6.6% figure only represents a slightly lower figure than the 7 to 7.5% growth many analysts estimated before the pandemic. In real dollar terms, the $11 billion increase in defense spending is the fifth highest increase ever for the country. It also shows that China is determined that the People's Liberation Army, or PLA, will remain insulated as much as possible from the negative economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in China's economy shrinking by 6.8% in the first quarter of 2020 compared to the same time last year. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang said as much during his speech Friday at the opening of the annual gathering of its largely rubber-stamped parliament. He pledged that the PLA would not be worse off. We will deepen reforms in national defense and the military, increase our logistic and equipment support capacity, and promote innovative development of defense-related science and technology, he told legislators at the opening of the National People's Congress, which kicked off Friday at the Great Hall of the People in China's capital, Beijing. Li also touched on the issue of Taiwan during his speech, reiterating that China would resolutely oppose and deter any separatist activities seeking Taiwan independence. He also called on the Taiwanese people to join the mainland in opposing Taiwan's independence and to promote reunification. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province, with the self-governing island off its coast having formed its own government in 1949 when nationalist forces fled there following defeat at the hands of communists during China's Civil War. Perhaps tellingly, Li dropped the use of the word peaceful when talking of reunification with Taiwan, a departure from decades of using it as the standard expression Chinese leaders used when addressing parliament and mentioned in Taiwan. Although China has never announced the possible use of force for reunification efforts, Li's call for reunification came as U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper reaffirmed that the country would stand by Taiwan. Speaking on Hugh Hewitt's radio show, Esper said the U.S. would certainly live up to our commitments to Taiwan, noting that it is also bound by the Taiwan Relations Act enacted by Congress, which pledges to supply Taiwan with weapons it needs for its defense.